Hey guys, this is Andy McCann coming to you from Woodstock, Georgia, where I own CrossFit Garage. My goal is to help you look good naked and become harder to kill. And this lady right here beside me has been helping our family do this the whole time. So I got a special guest on today's show where we're trying to help you lay a firm foundation in fitness, food, and finance. I got my wife here, Verity, and she is also an engineer, but more so, she is a troubleshooting fool when it comes to our family's health with regards to non-traditional stuff. Actually, it's more traditional. It's so traditional, it was probably the first several thousand years of life. And then we got into the medical world. So her knowledge is way better than mine. And many times I say things and I never let facts interrupt a good story. So sometimes my facts will be off, but the story will be true. So she will probably correct me a lot here, and she likes to be way more accurate. So I'll probably be doing a lot more pausing and picking up the story as we go. I know I do that for coffee and other stuff as well, but I'll probably do it more so here. So anyway, I brought her on because I do a bit for the Survival Podcast. It's a guy named Jack Spirko. He gets something like 200,000 or 300,000 downloads a day of his podcast, and I'm just the health and fitness guy, and I answer questions on that. I had a question come in from a listener. His name is, I think it's Patrick, and basically he was asking me, hey, what do you know about PEMF pads and red light therapy? The answer is not much. I know we do it, and the lady right here, Verity, is going to give you guys the goods on all of that. So Verity, say hi.
Hey, how is everybody?
And so yes, we are married, so we'll probably cut each other off a lot. I'm going to try really hard to keep my mouth shut once we get going and just ask questions. But anyway, okay, so the question that he had was, PEMF pads, have you used them? How do they work? And can I use it for my dog he's an agility competitor, which I don't even know what that means. You know what that means? No.
Sounds like a very sporty, athletic dog.
Yeah, so agility competitor. I guess he's hopping from thing to thing. I should have looked that up. Anyway, he says he suffers from like carpal tunnel syndrome, so carpal issues with his joints. And would this help him? Then he also goes into, my wife has some issues. She had some radiation and stuff in chemotherapy for some throat cancer. What do you think about these devices for her? The answer to that is this. Neither one of us are doctors. This is not medical advice. This is stuff that we've seen in our own family, or Verity does a lot to just help people out. Just like, hey, my tire popped. That's me. I go out there and help people change tires. She says, people will say, hey, my kid has an ear infection. What have you done in the past or heard? She's like, I don't know. I've heard these things. And so we test run a lot of stuff. People might say it's granola. So yeah, maybe I'm granola. I don't tree hug. I like to chop down trees and shoot deer. But I am very granola when it comes to my own health. I don't have a primary doctor. I don't have a pediatrician. Actually, our pediatrician a long time ago fired us. Yeah. And the most recent one said, we have to fire you because you don't get enough shots. We're like, all right, that's cool. But our kids are adults, so we don't really need a pediatrician. Okay, does that sound like us in a summary? Does that sound good?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
So in addition to eating healthy and trying different stuff, we're going to go through a couple of things that we do and that we have found effective for us. Again, is this advice for you? I mean, it's a podcast. You're listening to an unfrozen caveman lawyer. I'm an idiot with a little tiny platform. Yeah, listen if you want. Did it work? Sometimes. Does it really work? I mean, I don't know, anecdotally, and you can go and like research this stuff on your own. So we're just giving you the experiences we had. And I can tell you for certainty that some of the things that work for my family do not work for me at all. Like I drink a lot of coffee, but caffeine does not do what it's supposed to do. I could drink all this. I could drink a pot of coffee and go to bed. Nope. Is that true?
Yes, it's crazy.
And so I don't know. So it could be I am an alien or that unfrozen caveman lawyer. I don't know. Okay. So Dennis, I said it was Patrick. It's Dennis. So this is for you, episode 240. I hope that's the number. And we're going to go through this. All right. So first, what is red light therapy?
It's like a phototherapy. So if you back up, most people understand phototherapy because you use it every day. You go out in the sunshine, the sun hits your skin. The sunlight doesn't contain vitamin D, but the sunlight interacts with our body, and the light waves actually trigger your body to upregulate vitamin D in your body. That's kind of how I understand it. So basically, our bodies are divinely wired to interact with different wavelengths of light. So red light is just one light wave on the spectrum, and your body kind of interacts with it. So you see a lot of chiropractors using it, a lot of people buying it. I think it's kind of used for more anti-inflammation to kind of dial back your inflammation. People have injuries and they'll go see a chiropractor, I think, and they'll use red light therapy. So yeah, there's a lot of testimonies online about that. Also, people with acne, you see those masks
mask
that
right
are
there
on Amazon, and it shines the red light on your skin to help with acne. Our son did that for a while until I think he broke it or lost something or other. Some of them are expensive and some of them are like huge panels you can put on the back of a door, and then others are relatively inexpensive. The only thing I haven't researched this. I know that some people say red light is okay for the eyesight, it helps the eyes, and some people say no, it damages the eyes. So I feel like there's conflicting information out there about that, so you kind of have to do your own research and see what you think.
You should always do your own research. You should never just believe someone you heard on the internet. So, and I guess now the AI videos can make anybody say anything they want. So always go and research. And most of the time, most of the people will be affected mostly the same way, but then there's me. And you may be someone like me. It just doesn't work. So I have this theory that while we are all machines that work pretty much the same, so we have hearts, we have lungs, and they all pump and do that, and it's similar, the blood we have in our body to make it all work isn't the same. Thus, it is possible, if the blood can be different, that our bodies could actually just respond differently. I know genes and all that stuff, they track all that. I'm just a big proponent of not everything works exactly the same for everybody. So go out there and try things on your own. Okay. So I did have someone in the gym, Aaron said, hey, I'm looking for a red light mask. So these things, people are out there looking and asking. And I had a question on eyesight that I did the other day for Jack's show is, can you exercise your eyes out of being, needing glasses? The answer is maybe. I do the thing where I stare at my steering wheel and then stare at the billboard. So I go back and forth and I can feel my eyes kind of pulse. But I've also looked into this red light therapy. Can I use it for my eyes? The biggest problem for me is I just am not still enough to ever sit with a device. So
well, the other thing they say is eyes on sunrise. So I'm hearing that a lot more. That kind of helps reset your hormones, resets your body, sets your body up so that it produces, I always get this word wrong, is it your melatonin that you need for sleep? So I think
it's alcohol. It's pronounced alcohol.
So if you go out in the morning, the cheapest way to do this is go out in the morning when the sun's coming up and look at the sunrise for 10 minutes. I've had lots of people way more guru and knowledgeable than me say you need to do that. That helps your hormones kind of reset. So don't go spending a ton of money. First, go out there and see the sunrise, watch the sunrise, and see if that helps you sleep better at night, which is wild, but I think that's the way we were intended to be.
Right, it's that circadian rhythm. So here's the tricky part for most of you. She said you have to wake up and go out into the sunlight. That means you have to wake up. That means you're waking up early because the sun comes up kind of early.
Not as much right now. It's coming up later now. You can sleep in a little.
You can sleep in a little. So I know sometimes getting up is tough, but I will promise you, if you can wake up, you can get stuff done. And when you get stuff done, you feel productive and everything goes better when you're productive. But that's the 52-year-old Andy talking. Okay, so red light therapy, she said it's a wavelength. It is. If you remember back in the day, it was Roy G. Biv. Roy G. Biv actually stands for red, orange, yellow, blue, Biv. Let's see. Blue. Wait, I missed one. Green, violet, blue, indigo, violet. So red is just the lower end of the spectrum. If you go low enough, you can't see it anymore. So that's not visible spectrum. But there is light that is being emitted, or a wavelength that is being emitted. So it depends on what you call it. Light is something we see, or is it the wavelength that's out there that something could see? If you remember the movie Predator, the Predator could switch between, I guess, heat vision, night vision, photo vision, uranium vision, and hard-to-getium vision, and kill vision. I don't know. It had a lot of things it could select through. So there is a wavelength out there that can be detected. It's like the cars that drive themselves. They don't actually see. They throw out IR. Is infrared? Yeah, they use infrared, or they use LiDAR, which is something different. Like they'll throw a satellite or
what about radio frequency?
Radio, it's just wavelengths bouncing, right? So is it a wavelength? Is it a sound? Is it a light particle? I don't know.
Well, it's like speed detection.
True. So when the cops are coming after you, they're doing something to see you. It's a radar, right? Anyway, so is it visible? That's the difference. When we get into some of this, we're going to talk about it is not visible light, which is basically a frequency. I know you're like, whoa, Andy. you went to Georgia Tech because obviously you're talking light and frequency. It is true. I did go to Georgia Tech. So did my wife. And she is smarter than me, except she married down. So that was kind of the bad part. She made one bad choice. So this stuff is all frequency based. And now you're like, Andy, you lost me. I'm not into this whoa frequency stuff. Neither am I. It's just sometimes they got it right on accident, and it's weird. Like the full moon creates a different frequency and stuff goes wild. I mean, it's not they didn't make it up. They did make up werewolves, I guess. Unless you're a werewolf, you're out there, I believe in you. They made up werewolves come out at the full moon because it's frequency. But the parasites and stuff inside of you come out because of full moons. The ocean does something different on a full moon. So there is a weird thing, and they're like, the earth has a frequency. Do you know the earth's frequency?
No, but that might be why people say grounding also helps.
Yeah, so we're going to get into grounding too. So it could be, I think it's F sharp. I don't know. I think that's literally what it was. But, they tie it to the pyramids, they do all this stuff. Anyway, frequency is just you have amplitude and frequency. So if you have a wave form, oh my gosh, Andy, so tough. So like a sine wave, it just goes up and down. It's basically, think of a roller coaster with a lot of like ups and downs, right? So the frequency is how fast are you going up and down? Is it going up and down a lot in under a mile? Then that's a lot of frequency. If it just went up and down once in a mile, that's a very low frequency. Then you have amplitude. That's the height of the going up and the down, right? So the scary part where you're falling. So frequency is just the speed of the wave propagation. All right, I know that's tough, but this is where this gets into and why it works. Man said, hey, we could take this low light therapy that they're doing for the sun when you wake up in the morning, put it in a package, sell it to you for $1,000, and you can radiate it on your face. And that's what they're coming down to. So does red light therapy or infrared light work? The answer is maybe. So in my family, Verity has used this on our kids and herself, and I have seen it with my own eyes. But then I used it and nothing happened. So it's true. I could be the genetic freak. That's possible. So tell us, in our family, what have we done? Like we had Levi with the face mask and then he broke it, but there was other things. I know Evan's got some sort of palm thing that he would use in his hand over there.
Oh yeah, that's a loom box. I haven't used that too much, but that's a small red light therapy box. So let's see. I initially used something called a Wellness Pro. They don't offer that anymore, and that's just a pulse frequency device. And then lately I bought a Bemer mat, which you can lay on, and it kind of works on the cellular level. It was pretty interesting to understand. I think the heart. Do you want to look?
Yeah, I got the Bemer mat right here. So this guy is badass, but it's also expensive. It's like,
I think we spent about $7,000 to buy this device.
Now let me count. You're like, damn, Andy, why'd you spend that? So let me back up. Our son Evan, we eat healthy, we do healthy, we all this healthy stuff, and then Evan gets a Crohn's diagnosis. So was he going to get that, or did he go on a cruise and eat some sushi that had a parasite? Man, I don't know the answer. I just know that our son went to college at 170 pounds, came home at 135, and then while he was doing an internship beside me, like at the computer beside me, he walked down and said, I just weighed myself, I'm 117. I'm like, okay, you're going to die, not because of Crohn's, because you're losing too much weight. Let's do anything and everything we can to keep you alive. And what do? Man, you give a kid a kidney? Yes, you do that. You give him your liver? Yes. You pray to God and say, I will switch places with him. Yes. If you got some money and you can try a thing, you do it. So anyway, Bemer mat comes into the house. He's laying on this thing. Was it God? Sure. Was it the Bemer mat? Sure. Was it the Lion Diet? Sure. Was it the Dosh Detch group? Sure. We did a lot of stuff because when you're in jeopardy, man, you will try stuff. Okay, so Bemer mat enters the scene. They're not all that much money, but when we buy good. And it's got different settings, and you could do, like, tell me, you would do different settings to hit different things, right?
Yeah, so the Bemer, we actually got it on a Black Friday sale. We got it because I had a chiropractor at the time who was practicing who used it with her husband and had a lot of success for just some various things. So basically, we got the mat and you lay on it. Evan used it. He didn't use it as much as I thought he was going to. I think for him, his body was so super sensitive, it was kind of throwing him into more of a detox, which isn't a bad thing. Like when you detox, your body's flushing toxins and you want that. You just have to manage the symptoms of it. You don't want to detox so fast that you're miserable. So initially when he started using it, it was throwing him into too much of a detox. I started using it and I liked it, actually. I like it a lot. It helps me with my circulation. I feel like my circulation's improved. But the only drawback is it makes me so tired. It like zonks me out. It relaxes me. So when I try to do it twice a day and do it in the middle of the day, I found myself taking a long nap and falling asleep on it. So I was like, okay, I got to change that up. I can't take an hour nap in the middle of the day. So I can tell, I mean, it's impacting me. It's doing something to my system. I think it's helping the circulation. The guy who I got it from said that even though your heart pumps, each individual cell in your body actually moves and kind of pumps and flushes out toxins. So on a cellular level, it's actually pumping and flushing, helping flush kind of toxins in the body. So anyway, it's worth looking into. We can put the guy's name in the show notes if people are curious and want to dig a little deeper. And personally, I mean, I found it helpful. The stories are pretty cool.
So this particular device also does not shoot, like you will not see visible anything. So for those listening, yes, I make this an audio and a video podcast. So you can go to at Andy McCann 42 on YouTube and you can watch this, or of course, Fitness, Food, and Finance is a podcast. But we are watching like these wavelengths come out of the mat on the screen and so not everything in red light therapy is actually red light. Sometimes they actually just give you a red LED because you hear red light, but it's actually talking about this undetectable wavelength is usually what it is. So in many cases, the red light is just, telling you we're doing a thing. It's off or it's on. But it's the settings you can put it on, the frequency, the pulses, the timing, all that stuff that is supposed to change and do something for you. Again.
So I asked the guy how he would describe it. He says it's a physical vascular therapy device that increases microcirculation. So your heart's pumping only handles 25% of your circulation. That's the big vessels. And this actually helps the 74,000 miles of tiny capillaries in your body that are working to deliver the oxygen and the nutrition.
Yeah, and I'll put a link in there so you can talk to this guy specific and order various things. But it's a wellness device.
Yes. So these are wellness devices. We're not claiming that we're treating, healing, curing, whatever. These are just kind of helping put your body back into more of an optimal state. So your body can do
what it's supposed to.
And what it's supposed to do.
And that's something that I really like about the approach that Verity has taken with the family is how do we let your body do the thing that it's supposed to do? Can we assist it in getting to the place that it wants to do? So nothing, did it cure Evan? Like I said, I'm going to say no to those things. There was so much going on. What it did, the things that he did, put him to a state that allowed his body to do what it's supposed to. I believe that our bodies are the ultimate adaptation machines. If you want to smoke like a chimney, go for it. Your body is going to learn to adapt. Yes, you may die early, but it's going to figure out how do I get this toxin out of my body so that I can function. I wouldn't actually say go for smoking, but I'm saying is your body would adapt to it. If you want to do CrossFit and give yourself that stimulus, it says, yes, I need to be healthier than I was before. If I want to sit at a desk and just put my hands here and sit in that chair, your body will adapt to the chair and you will be like, I can't stretch and do stuff. Yeah, because you adapted to a chair like a dumbass. So don't do that. Pick the things that really stress you in the positive manner or bring you back to this, I don't know the word, is homeostasis or the even
balance.
Point? Yeah, your balance.
Balance. You want to deal with the root cause of an issue.
Okay, so you don't,
a symptom.
Yeah, and you don't have to go towards this Bemer mat, but we used it a lot. So Dennis, when you were asking, have you done it? Man, have we done it? This is why I said I need a bigger podcast and I need to bring my brains on the show. Okay, so there is a guy that I find funny, this Awaken with JP, and he really pushes this one thing called Bon Charge. I have no affiliation with it, but I know, like, and trust his stuff. So if you're looking for something, maybe go to Amazon or you can look at this. It is kind of expensive unless if it does what it's supposed to do and it helps you get to the place you want to be, then the price doesn't matter, right? But there are options in here that go all over the map. There's this one thing that he's got that we've actually tried, not the specific unit, but similar. So it's a kind of a sauna dome. Explain a little bit about what that was and how we were using it.
We have a solo sauna. I think it's Sunlighten is the company name. And what that does is, obviously, when you're talking about detoxing, if you sweat, you're sweating out toxins. So some of it is it's a modality that causes you to sweat. It raises your body temperature. And I know a lot of times parents, when their kids get fevers, they get really nervous and worried, and then they give them something to reduce the fever. And I'm not giving you medical advice, but the other thought out there is when your body elevates your temperature, it's doing that on purpose, because when you elevate your temperature, it actually helps your body kill off viruses and other things in your body that you don't want. So by going in some of these saunas, sometimes that's super helpful because you're increasing your body temperature. Your body can kind of go to work to clear some of the things in your body that is struggling to get rid of. So whether that's a virus, a bacteria, I don't really know the ins and outs of it, but I know there's a lot of people who do this regularly, a lot of biohackers. You got the Gary Brecka, you got Dave Asprey, you got all these different people who are biohackers who they swear by saunas. So a solo sauna is the cheaper sauna because it's just a one-man thing and you're not putting your head in the sauna. So if you don't like your face and your air around your face to get hot, it's kind of nice to do these because you can control. It's just like the neck down. And you don't feel like you're, especially if I can get claustrophobic, so I don't like to feel enclosed. But this is a good one. But they are expensive. They're kind of pricey.
Yeah, the price has gone up. But interesting on these solo saunas, you can share them, just not more than one person at a time. Though you need to change out the sweat bedding, right? Because you're going to sweat with these things. So I think it's a better version than I got a buddy who has changed his basement closet into a sauna using what I would consider is heat lamps that I put on my birds. So a bird heat lamp. So if you go to Tractor Supply and you pick up one of those heat lamps with a red lamp, he's got like 6 of them in there. And I'm curious if he had to up the breaker on it because those things will draw a lot. Anyway, he's got his closet in the basement swapped out in with like insulation and that wood, it's like oak or something, that cedar, like it smells good.
Wow.
Oh yeah, it's a good setup.
That's an investment.
Yeah, I think that was a bit more, especially if he wants to move it away with him or take it or something. But anyway, so these solo saunas, we have used that. I know Evan has jumped into this a bunch when he was home over that summer.
But if you're gonna invest money like in a sauna or in a Bemer mat or in anything, in one of those infrared lights, I would say go find a spa that's close by and just go try it. Pay the daily price to try something in a spa environment where you're not really forking out a ton of money up front. You can try it and see if you really like it, see if you actually use it.
Okay, so I forgot to actually define what the other one was. I'm going to pull this up here. It's PEMF, which stands for Pulsed Electromagnetic Field. And what does that mean to you guys? Probably nothing, but this is what it means to us. So what have we used? What that was PEMF.
I think the Wellness Pro a long time ago that currently are not, they're working on their new version of that. So that's not out. I think Bemer is considered PEMF. And right, then my naturopath also, her husband, my naturopath, Dr. Tiffany, is amazing. Her husband works for a company called Pulse EMF. Or Pulse PEMF, I think. I might have.
Yeah, we got her in a tab coming up. Let me pull her up.
Yeah, and so that's kind of the next level. That's more expensive, but there's different versions you can get depending on whether you want full body or you just want to have like a smaller device. But her husband's an expert on that. He actually said you could come do a podcast with him. He's a pretty cool guy. So maybe you could do a
What's his podcast? Do you know the name?
I don't.
I can look it up.
I think I sent you an email, but I don't know if it's on there. He also has a YouTube channel too. So anyway, he's got a lot of great information. That's kind of like another version. And I think they run like $20,000 to $48,000. But you know what? I mean, like if this is something that you investigate and look into and you're like, this is the key to me having better health, it's an investment, but it's a very amazing investment. I've done it. I took my son, our other son, out there to her house. She lives closer to Athens, and went by her office and did this. And he said he slept better. He felt better. His mood changed. It was kind of wild how your body responds when you kind of reset yourself and have that positive energy flowing through you. Another device that I've used recently is there's another chiropractor local named Dr. John. He has a a Tesla biocharging unit, and that uses PEMF, but it also has three other modalities of healing. It's called a biocharger, and I forget it's PEMF. There's 4 things it does. Does it say on there, honey?
I'll look it up. So she said a
lot more.
She said a very valuable thing. I know. I was like, hey, I bought a $7,000 or $5,000, whatever it was. I bought a $10,000 thing. Yeah, so I wouldn't actually suggest go doing that. What I would say is go find somebody that has it, usually these biohackers, and pay the rental fee for using it. So we did some salt baths with a lady who has health spa just north of us. I don't have a salt bath in my house, but I just went and paid her to use it. So yeah, that's totally fine. Dunk tanks. I mean, if you don't have any of that stuff in your own or want to buy that, just find somebody that has got it. Use it for a while and see if, like, can I even do this? I know cold plunging is a big thing, but my fingers and toes get so hurtful with the cold weather that there is no way I'm going to intentionally plunge myself in any of that. So I don't need to go even rent it because I know the answer is no. But if I wanted to try it, I would go out there and find somebody who already has it. So
yeah, and Evan did hyperbaric. We didn't buy one. We just found a local spot that had hyperbaric chamber. He did that a few times.
So a hyperbaric chamber, basically you lay in a thing and then it pumps up the pressure. So much like pumping up the jam, it's pumping up your
pressure, so the oxygen gets into your body like at a higher percentage.
That's right. So it's the reverse of going skiing in Colorado. So they've like dropped you into the ocean and they're pushing oxygen onto you so your body can uptake more oxygen because it's more readily available. Now, the problem is if your body's like broken in that regard, then it may or may not do anything for you. But being weirdly, if you breathed in pure oxygen, you would die. But being in a higher oxygen environment is better for you, for your body. Of course, then your body would adapt to it and it would be less good.
That's a lot of people, a lot of biohackers, a lot of health doctors who are kind of health-minded, like integrated functional doctors that use hyperbaric.
Yeah, so some pro athletes will take it with them, and yeah, so they're interesting, and it does. I mean, they have said it promotes healing and all this stuff. I haven't used it for that. I never got into one. I can't tell you for sure, but there are these devices and things out there. Mm-hmm. So again, Dennis, does it work? I mean. Yeah. I have seen it in my family. I have testimony for you of actual, take Evan. But then on my own personal self, no. So what does that mean? I don't know. I think I'm probably just more broken than I should be, and so nothing works. Okay, so there's Dr. Tiffany.
So we'll go back. I was just going to mention on the biocharger one, he said the 4 energy types are PEMF, voltage, light, photons, and frequency to energize the cells. So it kind of uses 4 different modalities.
Had I scrolled down more, I would have seen those things.
Yeah, so it was interesting. I haven't dug in and done a lot of research on it. I've just used it when I've been over there getting a couple adjustments. So yeah, check it out. I'll put his name and information in there. If you're local to me, you can go see what you think.
Local is Woodstock, Georgia. Okay, so we already mentioned Dr.
Tiffany. Mm-hmm.
Tiffany Flock, and she is in Jefferson, Georgia.
Closer to Athens, but she also does appointments by Zoom. So she's, if you've got something going on and you want to kind of pursue kind of a natural modality and taught, and she'll do a free, I think she does like a 15-minute consult. So if you're just kind of curious if her personality and her, like what she does lines up with what you're looking for, I think she'll do like a consult with you so you can kind of get an idea of what she does.
Something that I'd heard recently that I just saw on her page reminded me, my kids have already done this, a parasite cleanse. And you're like, wait, we live in America. Why would we have parasites? Dude, you probably have more because you never cleanse. There's parasites in everything. And so I'll do it and I'll tell you guys about it when it happens.
Yeah, because with Evan, I think, he grew up being a super healthy kid, playing soccer, competitive soccer. He played high school soccer, very strong kid. So
CrossFit? He's a CrossFit level 1 coach?
He kind of came out of the blue. But they said really what they thought, and like most things when you have a health crisis, sometimes it's not one thing that throws you into it. But for him, it was... one doctor said he had the worst parasite infection they ever saw. He was in a moldy environment. He was eating trashy college food and fried chicken. Nothing wrong with fried chicken if you make it yourself. Haha. So anyway, it was kind of like, and they thought, maybe he had the COVID virus and that could have, so it's kind of like a combination of 3 or 4 things that kind of crashed his gut and kind of led to that. So a lot of times it's not one thing that you're doing, it's kind of a combination of things that have kind of built up over time. So if you can kind of detox the trash out of your body and you can support the healing like naturally, and I'm not saying there's never a time to do medicine. I'm not a doctor.
I'm saying that.
He's the anomaly. Like if you get in a car wreck or you break a bone, you got a bone sticking out of your body, go to the doctor.
That's right.
I'm not saying don't go to the doctor. And we probably should have gone to see extra doctors a little quicker with Evan. We were seeing doctors, but sometimes you don't really know until hindsight's 2020 as to what I wish I'd done that a little quicker.
Can we say that anymore? Because 2020 was such a weird year. So the hindsight is 2020. So I don't believe anything anymore because of 2020. So I'm so 2020 vision for the past. Anyway, but she's correct. I believe there's 5 pillars to health and fitness. It's how you eat, sleep, move, think, and connect. Fix those things, and that'll move the needle much more. I don't take any supplements at all. I do drink coffee. I don't know if that's a supplement. It's probably more just the routine of it. But get those things together. So how I eat really weird right now, but with Evan, and it's working out pretty good. My blood work and everything comes back like stellar. Basically carnivore. How you eat, sleep. You can ask Verity. I sleep like a rock. She even comes into the bedroom and she's like, "Hey, Andy!" And she's making all sorts of noise and I just sleep right through it. I didn't even know she got home last night. And then, so eat, sleep, move. I do CrossFit almost every day, so moving pretty good. Eat, sleep, move, think. I am working on think and connect. Think is, you should change your viewpoint of the world to it's a friendly world, not a hostile world. That guy just cut me off. Well, he's probably taking his wife to the hospital rather than that guy just cut me off. Asshole, right? Don't do that. And then connect, especially men. Women have it right. They know how to pick up the phone and talk to each other, even in tidbits, right? I see it with my own daughter to my wife and my wife to her mom. So they connect. But us boys, I have this thing I do with the kids. It's called 5 minutes with dad. I'll call up Levi. Hey, 5 minutes with dad, go. And he's like, 30 seconds with dad. That's all I'm giving you. So we just don't connect very well because, I don't know, we want to hunt things or something. I don't know why, but we don't. So I'm working on the connection side of it. So fix those things. But in addition, look at the holes in your life. If things aren't working correctly and well, then it could be something else. So we got a couple other things we're going to give you that we do as a family. Some of it is great. Some of it didn't work. Some of it I would pass on. Okay, sorry, you were going to say.
I was just going to mention, you don't typically take supplements, but one thing you do is you're very big on getting your minerals, and you get minerals from your salt intake and your electrolytes, because our bodies are electrical. We don't think of our bodies as being electrical, but our cells communicate with signals like electricity. So what happens is if you don't have enough minerals, it's almost like you don't have what your body needs to conduct that signal through your body. So some people who I love to tell the story. Like I say, have you ever heard the phrase, "when it rains, it pours"? And most people have heard that, but they don't know where that phrase comes from. So what happened is a long time ago, around the early 1900s, I think, what they decided was, we don't want salt that when it rains, it gets humid. We try to shake it out, it clumps, and we can't get the salt to shake out. So when it rains, it doesn't pour. So what they did is they took all the healthy minerals out of our salt and they made it into table salt, which is just that white salt in the blue. Is it Morton's or Norton's? I always forget which one it is. Something like that. So the little girl with the dress and the umbrella, and you got the salt. So what you want to do is you want to go back to the salt that actually does clump, because it has all the colors in it. It's got all the minerals. So you can do real salt, which is Redmond's real salt. You could do, I think Baja Gold is one of the biohackers recommend. But you need a good, healthy salt. I think a lot of people back off the salt, and then it causes problems because our bodies need those trace minerals that you get in the salt.
Right. That's why I collect all the sweat from the gym and I put it into a drink. I'm just kidding. I don't do that. That'd be gross. So some things that we do for health. We do. I guess that's it. We do CrossFit. So I'm a very big proponent of this stuff, not CrossFit as a company, but constantly varied functional movements executed at high intensity sometimes. Though There are people in my family that detest this. Right now, Levi is into hypertrophy. Evan has gotten back into CrossFit recently. Olivia likes long walks in the woods and stuff, like hiking. That's long walks in the wood. Hiking. There's a word for that.
She likes nature.
Nature, yeah. And you can tell the way nature is by the way it is. And then Evie is into anything that doesn't have dad around. So it's kind of weird. Now, Verity has her own routine. Sometimes it involves CrossFit movements, but a long, long time ago, CrossFit was really dumb and we did some really stupid things. Not CrossFit, but the people doing it. Basically, we'd say, hold my beer, let's go do this. And that was just a bad thing to do. So don't do the stupid things. For our gym, it's we have 3 rules. One is show up. Rule number 2 is don't do anything stupid today that would prevent you from showing up tomorrow. And rule number 3 is don't poop your pants on a heavy back squat. So yes, that one's just for fun. But show up and do things. Another thing that we do, so
at the gym.
Yeah, this is at the gym. So Dr. Cam just moved up front. He's got Chiro Cafe. We've been seeing the chiropractor for a very long time. I was a naysayer. Evan had ear infections, and Verity's like, hey, I just heard that we could possibly do this thing with a chiropractor with ear infections, and maybe possibly it'll work. I'm like, that is some witch doctor tomfoolery. It'll never happen. Evan never had an ear infection again.
Well, can I back up a little bit? Like
don't let facts ruin a good story. No, I'm just kidding.
Well,
Tell the facts.
As a baby, got an ear infection, and
a lot.
The first one he got, we went to the pediatrician, got the antibiotic, and he took 3 doses, and he broke out in a rash head to toe. So then I was like, yikes! Like, what is going on with this little guy? And so it turns out he's allergic to the penicillin family of antibiotics. So then I was like, well, gosh, I don't want to have to test another drug on this kid. Like, is there another option? So I went to the chiropractor, and back then the way they kind of explained it to me was like, have you ever had like a twitch in your eye?
Oh yeah.
Where you start to feel like weird. Well, it's almost like, from what I understand, is that like the nerve that travels to the ear canal, or that goes around the ear canal, like you get something that kind of causes it to twinge and twitch and kind of close. Anyway, in my brain, that made sense, that if you kind of fix the bone being out of place and out of balance, if you put things back where it's supposed to go, then maybe it's not impinging on a signal. And maybe that's anyway, I was like, yeah, I'll give it a try. So I went to the chiropractor. He adjusted Evan, and Evan does amazingly well. But he was a kid who he always sat to the side in his high chair car seat. Like, everything was kind of leaning. You could tell he totally was kind of off balance. But even as he got older, he was my kid prone to those. And so what we did is, anytime he fell off, he would actually say, I need to go to the chiropractor. And he was usually like, something around here was kind of off and needing to get kind of realigned. So it helped him. I mean, we did the other stuff too, but... Yeah,
so Chiro Cafe, he's up front. You can go to any chiropractor, but if you're near us, Woodstock, Georgia, or going to the garage, which most of the listeners are garage members, but he's right up front. So it's awesome.
Dr. Kim's good for mobility stuff.
Oh, yeah, he does a lot more than just this.
Where's your mobility restricted? Are you more flexible on the left side, or do you have more range of motion on the left versus the right? It's interesting, and it kind of highlights, like, I thought I wasn't off balance. And I go to him, and he's like, do you realize that you don't turn all the way this way, but you do that way? And I'm like, no, what's going on? So, and he gives you homework. So if you don't like homework,
don't go there. Yeah.
But he wants to give you the homework because he doesn't want you to feel like you have to see him constantly. He wants you to do the homework so that your body will actually kind of hold on to the mobility and the positive changes.
All right, and we're going to breeze through this one because it's a crappy subject. The fleet enema. So one time we had a kid who was sick, and it's like 2 a.m., and it's 104-degree temperature, and at 105, kids explode, right? And so you're like, oh, no, what do you do? And it's late. And so I I don't know how I got a hold of one of our relatives, and she said, you should do one of these baby enemas. And I was like, what? So I went over and got it, put it inside the kid, and then, of course, they explode, right? And immediately the temperature drops. I'm like, wow, that is crazy. So we've been doing this on the kids in our family. Well, maybe not all of us, but for a very long time. And it's great to cure the children from, I'm sick and I can't go to school, because you're like, hey, we're going to do one of these fleet enemas. And they're like, I'm good. I'll go to school. So it cures them super fast. But obviously, if your backside is holding on to toxins and you can get it out, it would help. All right, I'm going to move on from that subject.
That is actually, you can move on off that screen. Nobody
Yeah.
wants to look at that. But Dr. Denmark was a pediatrician who practiced till she was over 100 when her eyesight started to kind of fail her a little bit.
Out in Gainesville, Georgia,
And
right?
we had relatives whose kids, this was before we really had kids who could, we didn't even have kids back then. But we have relatives who saw Dr. Denmark up in Gainesville. And there's a book by one of her patients put together all her advice. It's called Dr. Denmark Said It. And you can go buy that book. And she kind of explains the theory on enemas. And I think that's kind of like a really old school way of handling things. It's just interesting to see how did they do things in the earlier 1900s, but you know what I mean, like 50s, 60s, 70s, like what was working back then. Because sometimes we kind of come full circle. We make changes, like they give us recommendations, and then 20 years later, they're like, that recommendation didn't work. So sometimes it's nice to see what was working back then. And the fact that she was a pediatrician who practiced till she was over 100, she was obviously doing a lot of things right.
Yeah, something right. So another thing that we use is this mug of nasty. So this is good if you've got some sort of respiratory or whatever infection. So basically we would drop some oils into a mug and then pour hot water over it. And it was something like oregano, peppermint, tea tree oil, and arborvitae, and then you would put it in there, and you would breathe in this steam that had this oils in it, and it burns, especially if you got it in your eyes, but it would open you up and clear you out. So we did this a lot. You need to try it for yourself to see if it's effective. They say that viruses, bacteria, or whatever can't live inside of oregano oil, which is why the Italians use it so much. You can't live here. And so, I don't know, the leaves of oregano and oregano oil, not the same thing, but Tylenol and acetaminophen came up from something. And usually it's a distilling of the natural thing, just like we use as red light therapy. It's just what happens in the morning, but they can do it all day long. So they take these things. Do the oils do what they're supposed to do? Go check it out for yourself. But we use the Mug of Nasty all the time. Okay, so I'm going to move on to something else that I did. Across the street from us is Thrive Medical. They've got this opportunity to do a EBU, external blood oxygenation and ozonation. Now, you may say to yourself, but Andy, doesn't your body supposed to do that on its own? Yes. The other thing that they do is they run it through some UV lights, which, watch out, there is a genetic condition that I called R2D2. It's not that. It's something like letters. And weirdly, your blood cells, your blood membranes have problems with UV light, which maybe you come from vampire stock. I don't know. But you don't want to do it if you have vampire. It'll give you like a rhabdo scenario, so your blood just kind of gets all wobbly and gross. But this EBU pulls your blood out, cleans it up, puts it back in your body. I may not need to use it, but I always guinea pig myself. I think Evan should probably do it. And so I went and did it first to see what happens. And I'm still alive, and it did pretty good. But a fascinating thing. So things you could try. I also give blood every 9-ish weeks because they say, hey, that might be a good thing. So I'm giving it a shot. I know that as men turn 50, they enter the drop dead years. For whatever reason, we get blood clots in our brain and blood clots in our heart. So that's heart attacks and strokes. How do we fix that? The answer is I don't actually know, but I'm going to find out because literally my friends are dying.
Well, Dr. McCullough, he talked for a while about, I listened to talk years ago, so I probably don't remember the details, but he talked about how like our bodies were made so that a long time ago, like you got a cut, you'd kind of bleed some. Like now we don't typically injure ourselves to the point where we bleed much very often. And so there's one theory that like you just get iron kind of builds up in your system. And so that's one reason why like giving blood, I mean, he said, if you give blood, it kind of helps your body. So I don't remember all the details on that, but I thought it was fascinating because that is something that in modern world, we typically don't cut ourselves and we don't typically bleed much.
No.
So you're not really losing blood from something like that.
Now, if you're out doing stupid races with me, you'll cut yourself and bleed a lot. Let's see. So I got the Dr. Denmark book, already did that. What is this one? Oh, that's the podcast. And then this last thing that I'm going to throw in there, this is something that is near and dear to my wife. And I'm going to give you this. It's called LifeWave. There are patches. They use a similar idea of reflective technology for light waves. Again, light what? It doesn't reflect like Roy G. Biv. It's your internal frequencies. Anyway, point is, does it work? Who knows? But I will tell you this. she got into this and she was, we were in bed. She's like, hey, I'm going to start patching you with some stuff and see what happens. I'm like, sounds good. So she would throw this thing on me. I think it was X39 on the back of my neck. And for those that knew me 5 years ago, my hair was completely white. I'm going to lean into this camera here. For those that are watching, you can see it. My hair has black in it. Is that happenstance? It could be. But since she started doing that, my hair started turning black again. It is not a full head of black hair. I've got a lot of white hair. I'm not white anymore. I would say I'm gray because there's black in there. But I just find it fascinating. I know you might be thinking, well, Andy, did you do something else? So I have a test. I have an eyewitness right here. Do I eat the same things all the time?
Absolutely.
And I've been eating the same way for about 15 years. Not like currently, but my breakfast, lunch, and dinner have always been very regimented for like 15 years. I've been off of sugar. I've been off of grains for like 15 years. I eat very regimented. I also go to sleep now pretty regimented.
Like clockwork.
And I work out pretty regimented.
Like clockwork.
I don't take any extra. The only thing I've actually changed in my life is I added more coffee and fun. And that's it. So maybe coffee, no, because my hair started going black again before coffee. I found coffee during the 2 weeks to shut down the world, or whatever that was called. And so anyway, I'm saying that as just a guy using it, because I'm going to bed, my wife slapped some stickers on me. Wow, interesting. I have then become a believer, and I use these things for various bits and pieces on me. I just did a 9-mile trail run, which my legs should have been jacked with lactic acid. And
well, they were when you got home.
Yes. I guess my point is it should have been jacked for much longer. So I put on my marble bag and Verity patched my legs up. I don't wear a marble bag. It was just my birthday suit. What? I didn't. And so she patched up my legs. And the next day she's like, how do you feel? I'm like, feel for what? She's like, exactly. I'm like, oh, she burned me.
I don't think it was that long. You went out to do something with the birds and came in. And I was like, how are your legs? And you said, what? And I said, well, remember we patched your legs. So anyway, LifeWave, LifeWave, I love LifeWave. I'm not saying it heals, treats, cures, prevents anything. It's just educational. But for me, I'd injured my foot like 5 years ago, and maybe this will resonate with some of y'all. I kind of got to the place where I was like, well, this is kind of my new normal. So because for 2 years, it bothered me to drive. It bothered me to walk to the end of the driveway. I'd put on a good bit of weight. And, you just kind of get more sedentary. I didn't want to get that sedentary. I'm not as hyperactive and CrossFitter like he is, but
not many people are as hyperactive as me.
Yes, but I didn't like to just be sat down most of the day. I wanted to be up getting stuff done. And I really couldn't be on my foot a lot. So I felt like this was my new normal. But my friend Shannon told me, you really should give this a try. I started using the patches at about 5.5 months. I was like, my body has switched something on and my foot is like 95% better. So that, for me, it was a quality of life issue. While I was waiting for my foot to feel something new, I felt more energy. I felt more mental clarity. My hair grows like crazy. My nails grow like crazy. And then my mom came up. I saw my mom was struggling with some major hip issue. I saw her dramatically feel better. So a lot changed for me. All of a sudden the light bulb came on and I was like, I think this could help a lot of people. And the way it works is basically your body emits a low level infrared light. Like Andy was saying, like you can't see it. But if you put on night vision goggles, you could see somebody's light coming off of them. It's just our eyes don't see that light. So what happens is the light comes off, it hits the patch, and inside the patch, I'll take mine off so you can see it. The patches, they look like a little sticker. And if you're skeptical and you're like, what can that do for me? I totally get it. But it's just a little sticker. And in the center of the patch are just nanocrystals that are organic, salts, sugars, amino acids, but they're reflective. And the crazy genius part of it is your body emits light. The light hits the patch, a certain frequency reflects back into the body. And because our bodies, like we were talking about, are designed to interact with light, it triggers the body to actually upregulate a peptide. And that's when the magic happens, because the peptide that actually tells you to upregulate is a GHK copper peptide. And all you need to know about that is that this is a peptide that's been studied for 50 years. And it's actually kind of the nickname for it is called the Fountain of Youth peptide. And that's because as we age, our stem cells go dormant. And if you don't know much about stem cells, you can kind of think of them like the paramedic in the body. Anytime something needs to be fixed, changed out, optimized, like your body is built from stem cells and your body repairs from the stem cells doing the work. So what happens is by the time you're 30, I mean, I don't think of 30 as being old, but by the time you're 30, half your stem cells are dormant. So your body's not got that repairing going on. So that's why, I mean, you probably see this maybe with CrossFit. Like when you see the athletic world, a lot of times these real competitive elite athletes, they don't compete much past 30.
Right.
You know, like you get to a certain age where your body's not doing that repairing. So what we're seeing is there's a lot of crazy, amazing athletes who use this patch because it was brought into the athletic world 20 years ago, the first versions. Now this one is incredible because with it rebooting your stem cell activity, I believe that our bodies are divinely wired to heal. We just have to kind of support our bodies. And this is just one of the ways I've seen in me, I supported my body. My body was able to go to work and start doing the repairing, but I've seen incredible benefits. I have friends who have like amazing stories about it helping support their bodies in incredible ways. But I've seen it with athletes. I have college athletes using it. I know professional athletes who use it. I've seen it with the kids. Evan used a lot of the patches to kind of mitigate some of the who's experienced a lot of discomfort and pains and different things. So he felt like that helped him detox. So yeah, it's pretty incredible, very powerful. And some of the testimonies will really make you cry when you hear them.
And I think some of the things that make you go, are like, I had a niece up. And she's like, for Thanksgiving. And she's like, I got to go to a dark room because I feel a migraine coming on. And Verity, like Spider-Man, just goes, bop, and puts something on her temple. And she's like, holy mackerel, it went away. So this is a girl who was like changing her life because of what headaches she was getting, who then turns and says, that's not going to help. Holy crap, that helped. And so I don't know. That's just, these are the things that we do. Do they all work? No, I didn't go through the list of things that we have done that I'm like, I don't think that did anything for us. But some things do. Now, I'll go back on this. Everybody's body is different. In my family, most of the time, these things work for them, just not for me. But I feel super productive eating this carnivore lifestyle, and nobody else in my family is interested. So I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying it's different. And I don't know, I would explore. There's way more things to do than the systems that are out there. I can't believe I'm going to say this. I am a huge capitalist. I have my own businesses. I like money, not because of, money, but because what it can do for you, right?
It's a tool.
It's a tool. But when you let capitalism take over the medical world, weird stuff starts happening, right? Some of the guys that are out there are telling you that, hey, it pays for them to keep you sick. I'm not going to go down that road, but I'm just saying it's weird. So go out there and check out your own stuff. Maybe the way that we perverted the system isn't the right way for everybody. Like a long, long time ago, I took the kids to a pediatrician visit, like their baby visit, and Verity's like, don't say it. And I said a thing, and the guy's like, you can leave. He fired us because I asked a question about the things that they were injecting. I'm like, I can't believe that happened. And she laughed. She's like, I knew that would happen. So I'm just saying, be wise. Go out there and investigate and look. Not everything will work, for sure. And some things that work for you, like CrossFit works for me, not everybody in my family likes it. So it's okay. I like eating steak, fat, meat, eggs, cheese, but not vegetables. And it's okay if you test it and you try it out on yourself. Okay, guys, we are here in Woodstock, Georgia. You don't have to be local, but if you are, come to the gym, CrossFit Garage. If you're not local, you can do most of these things just by looking around, and most things are done online. I'm actually going to put the links into the show notes, and I'll include even the last bit right here, this LifeWave. Verity's got a shopping cart, so you can jump into that. If you want to ask questions of Verity, I would say use my email address, andy@crossfitgarage.com, or my cell phone, which is on our website, crossfitgarage.com, because all of my stuff is already out there, and I don't want to pollute her cell phone with all the trash calls that I get. So get to me, and I'll pass you over to her, and you can ask all the questions you want.
We do. I mean, my group, my team does educational calls, and I'm happy to help. So just reach out if you're curious you want some more information about any of the things we talked about. I'm happy to chat with whoever about it. So reach out.
Yeah, we're very helpful. I'm the helpful asshole with energy. She's a calm, patient helpful. So you probably want hers more than mine. All right, guys. Hey, this is Andy McCann here with my wife, Verity McCann, here to help you lay a firm foundation in fitness, food, and finance. Y'all take care.